ever since doing those videos talking about trying to get treatments abroad, meaning every country that I go to, I need to get a dialysis treatment. Some people have been sending me stuff about either dialysis or things dealing with kidney failure, issues of solidarity to some degree. I got to be honest, it weirds me out. To some degree, as I've gotten older, I've gotten more solidified in being okay with a broken body, but not necessarily ever really putting emphasis on it, even to the degree of working and pretending that the defects, the weaknesses, the abnormalities in this physical system were constraints, and working around them to the degree that I could work around them. This has left a certain degree of over-the-topness and self-determination, and not necessarily liking others to try to undermine that level of self-determination that sometimes takes place in medical systems. That said, I greatly appreciate especially the place and the good feeling where this comes from. One of the articles that was sent to me by one of my subscribers, I don't know if she's okay with me mentioning her name, so I'm not going to mention her name, but she sent it to me on Facebook. She was nice as can be. And this was, well, I'll mention her name, Ringwall. I just said Ringwall. Thank you, Ringwall. I really do appreciate you sending me this. It's pertinent, seeing as it's going to take place, or this has to do with what's coming up in the election in November 8th. So I'm low energy. Let me up my energy. It's like almost 12 o'clock here, and I've been doing this all day. There's a ballot measure that's coming up on November 8th dealing with, of all things, what do you know? Dialysis. And in this particular case, it has to do with the money that companies receive, dialysis companies, especially big companies like Fresenius and DaVita, and the money that's invested in those companies and how that money is used. The ballot measure is called Proposition 8. It's modeled after a medical loss ratio in the Affordable Care Act, which mandates that insurance companies use 85% of the revenue on medical care. What do you know? Using healthcare, money for healthcare. Proposition 8 will force dialysis companies to devote 85% of their revenue to actual treatment and refund patients if annual profits go above that threshold. The goal is to get clinic owners to update equipment and improve training at 555 private-owned clinics in the state. That makes all the sense in the world. You have a dialysis facility, money comes into the facility. Hey, what about using the money that comes in for the healthcare itself, for the well-being of the patients, using 85% of the money for the patient's health? That makes all the sense in the world to me, especially from the standpoint of the person that's a patient, or that is a nurse, or that has somebody who is on dialysis, that wants the best for those people who are receiving that treatment. The opponents, No on 8 is what they call themselves, claim that capping profits will force widespread closures at a time that Californians need dialysis. Fear-mongering. Oh, God, the cats and everything is going to fall out of the sky. The world is going to come to an end if we do this. All of the clinics are going to close. All of the people who are on dialysis are going to die. People are just going to lose their kidneys out of nowhere. It's a bad, bad thing. You got to vote no on 8. We can't use 85% of our wealth for health care. We can't do that. The reality of this is that the goal of this is to make sure that the money that is being dumped into healthcare insurance companies from the standpoint of medical, like Fresenius and DaVita, dialysis companies, are used on patients. It's trying to force those companies to make healthcare about healthcare and not about making them reinvestment in the patient care rather than executive compensations. Meaning, as opposed to paying out millions of dollars a year in salaries, to use that money for patients. I've said that multiple times because I want to drill that home. The point of it, 85% of the money that's being brought into dialysis companies to be reinvested into patient care, making healthcare about healthcare. Now, in this weird capitalistic system, you have to come up with these weird jury-rigged systems in order to make this system work. But whatever. This is what California is trying to do. God bless them. Supporters of Prop 8 include labor unions, while main opponents are two companies that dominate dialysis, DaVita and Fresenius. I've been with both at one point in my life, at either point in my life. At this point I'm traveling, so I'm with neither. They're bankrolling No on 8 opposition campaign, the same campaign which bankrolled Jamarl Thomas. Who is Jamarl Thomas? Jamarl Thomas is a Democrat official. Now, a Democrat official that has been receiving money from this campaign, $30,000 if I'm not mistaken, and didn't disclose the fact that she was receiving $30,000 until late in the day, and hasn't been disclosing it to the people who she's been trying to encourage to push No on 8. Effectively, No on 8 campaign has been bankrolling a Democrat, and that Democrat has been trying to secretly, without disclosing the fact that she's being bankrolled by these companies, get people to vote No on 8. That's the story. Jamarl Thomas, herself a labor leader with the Communication Workers of America, accepted $10,000 payment as a campaign consultant from the opposition campaign, according to state disclosures. She accepted $30,000 from the No campaign. $30,000 is more than I made last year, said Demenya, and I'll let you see what I'm reading from. This is The Intercept. Whose committee will be deciding whether to endorse the initiative at the party executive board meeting this weekend. Under new bylaws, California Democratic Party, any material financial relationship over $1,000 with a candidate on the ballot measure must be disclosed. For the party officers like Jamarl Thomas, that means filling a quarterly statement itemized with compensation. The rule also requires party members to disclose their relevant financial relationships whenever addressing party members in meetings or in written communications about the campaign in question. But Roker's initial quarterly financial statement, April 15th, didn't mention the payments from the No on 8 campaign, only amendment filing on May 30th, including the material financial relationships with patients and caregivers to protect dialysis patients. I love that Orwellian name, patients and caregivers to protect dialysis patients. Think about that. That's what they're calling themselves. When in reality, they don't want to invest the money that they're getting, that people are paying them, on patient care. That's what's taking place. This Democrat is working behind the scenes to essentially vote No on 8, and is trying to inspire other people to vote No on 8 without telling them that she's being paid by these dialysis facilities. What do you know? Party members claim that Jamarl Thomas has not followed the disclosure rules in verbal communications. For example, Thomas has invited delegates in San Bernardino, Kings, and Ventura counties to tour DaVita facilities without disclosing her financial relationships to the company. She made a phone call to me and asked me to talk to these people, said John Griffin, the chair of the Ventura County Democratic Party. Griffin said Thomas did not disclose at the time that she was a paid consultant. I've since approached her and told her I would have appreciated her mentioning that. I had the impression that this was something that the party was recommending. Let's keep going. So, as somebody who's been outside of the United States, and I don't want this one to go too long. It makes it makes you, it's aggravating, to say the least. I've had conversations with facilities and people in London, Germans, people from Denmark, and people from Portugal. And so I'll focus on where I am. You could be born with not a dime to your name here. It wouldn't matter. What's taking place in the United States from the standpoint would not be, they wouldn't understand it. They would not understand why you would have a for-profit system in this way. Oh, you have cancer, pay me. You've broken a bone, pay me. Every situation you end up with this exploitive relationship, including this very peculiar relationship where there is a broken body that needs a consistent level of treatment persistently. Here, the point of healthcare is healthcare. The point of dialysis is dialysis. This would make no sense to the people here in Portugal. You could have a dime to your name. You'd still get treatment, and that treatment would be top of the line. Regardless of who you are, you could be a hobo on the street in bum fights. But at the very least, when your kidneys go bad, you will have top of the notch dialysis. That is not the same in the United States. You have for-profit corporations where the goal is to maximize their profit. And in this particular case, you have these companies paying a Democrat to get people to vote no on a proposition that will be worst off for patient care. The best option for patient care clearly will be for the reinvestment of funds into the facilities and into the treatment facilities and so forth. That will be the best case scenario for patients. She is going out trying to get people to vote against that. And she has been incentivized to do so with the money that's been stuffed into her G-string. And doing so without telling people that that's been the case. Vote yes on Prop 8. Ignore this Democrat who's trying to tell people to vote no. Vote yes on Prop 8. If you're looking for the best case scenario to maximize the care that people are getting in the United States that goes not, health care for everybody and all this other stuff, but is a better, they're Democrats after all, incrementalism, it's better. Vote yes on Prop 8. This particular Democrat, what is her name again? Just so we know who the person is. Tell the truth, shame the devil. Alex Gillard Roker received $30,000 in the first quarter of this year from opponents of the controversial ballot measure that would cap patient payments at outpatient dialysis facilities. She waited several weeks to make a written disclosure of this relationship contravening the party bylaws. And critics claim that she continues to stay quiet about her role as a paid consultant even while attempting to persuade party members to oppose the initiatives. It is unclear whether Roker is continuing to receive payments after March. Second quarter financial statements haven't been released. Vote yes on Prop 8 to maximize the care that people are receiving at dialysis facilities and to force big corporations like DaVita and Fresenius to invest that money back into the facilities themselves. Maximize patient care within the capitalistic system to the degree that you can maximize the care. I don't think anybody is going to be here, especially I don't think anybody cares about this. Robin knows. Oh, come off it, Jamal. Don't you know the California Democratic Party has a pharmaceutical lobbyist and one who represents the interests of California? Yes, I do know that. What does that have to do with vote yes on Prop 8? What does that have to do with vote yes on Prop 8? Dark Roasty Lefty, voting yes. Good, Dark Roasty Lefty. Edward Klein, the planet will defend itself against retarded humans hell-bent on its own destruction. Oh, you mean by purging us off the planet? Unfortunately, I'm one of those humans. Late-stage capitalism breeds never-ending war. I know many who do dialysis. So do I. So do I. All right, I'm not going to keep this one long. You all have a good one. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. And you can always support through PayPal or Patreon. Thanks all.